millionaires are at. You have a vision for the future, but happiness, you're not there yet. You have that vision of the new office you want to have, those revenue targets you want to have, the employees you want to hire, the sales metrics you want to reach for, the products you want to build. But you've decided that you're going to postpone your happiness until you get there. So you work crazy long hours. You give up your health. You neglect your family. You decide happiness will come when I do that, when I get there. That isn't the right state either. I've been in that state. That's the state when you're facing stress, you're facing anxiety, and you basically switched off that inner power within to help you create your goals. So when an analysis of my past, I realized that my business growth was directly proportional to the times in my life I lived in this state of equilibrium that I call flow, where I was happy in the now. I truly love what I'm doing right now. I am not postponing my happiness, but I still had bold visions pulling me forward. And as I started reading more biographies and meeting some of the most amazing people in the world, I noticed that more and more people who were truly successful seemed to be in the flow state. Now, I'm not talking about flow as defined by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, the Hungarian psychologist, brilliant guy who wrote a book called The Power of Engagement, right? He's talking about flow as in being engaged in the task you're doing. I'm talking about a different definition of flow. I admit when I came up with this term, the flow state, I hadn't read Mihaly's book. But I want you to know that it's a different destination. I'm talking about a mental state of mind in which you are pulled forward by big goals, yet happy where you are now. It creates a feeling of growth and a feeling of being lucky. So again, if you were to plot things this way, as I did on my iPad, vision plus happiness, you want to be here at flow, not in the current reality trap, not in a state of a depression, not in stress, but in flow. When you can hit this magic point, that's when something remarkable happens. It almost feels as if the universe has your back. It almost feels as if you're just unusually lucky. It almost feels like the bets you make just seem to take care of itself. It almost feels as if the right opportunities and the right people gravitate towards you. It feels as if you are bending reality. Now, there is no scientific conclusion for this, but I've just noticed that this seems to be the case. In an amazing book called Quantum Success, the author talks about this thing called the paradox of intention. You must have goals, but your happiness cannot be tied to these goals. You must be happy before you attain them. That's really what this state is about. It's about knowing that there is a destination, there is a grand vision for what you want to build in the world, but you are absolutely not going to postpone your happiness. You are going to be happy right now. Now, when you study really remarkable people, you'll notice this pattern. See if you can guess who this is. His biographer wrote this about him in his book. At the root of his reality distortion was his belief that the rules did not apply to him. He had evidence for this. In his childhood, he'd often been able to bend reality to his desires. He had a sense that he was the chosen one. He thinks that there are few people who are special, like Einstein and Gandhi and the gurus he met in India, and he's one of them. Steve Jobs. What I loved about that is the word bend reality. I'd actually started using that word before this book came out, but I love the fact that bending reality was that recurring theme. That word is used 3 times in Steve Jobs' biography. Then there was this man. He was once the richest man in America. He's now passed away. But he said this, I go into every situation expecting to win. Thinking like this often turns into a self-fulfilling prophecy. This means he has his big dreams, right? But he's happy right now because he kind of feels like he's really going to achieve his dreams. It's this positive expectancy that he says seems to pull him forward. That man was Sam Walton. He built the largest company of his time, Walmart. Then there was this. This was written over 100 years ago. I was early taught to work as well as play. My life has been one long happy holiday, full of work, full of play. I dropped the worry on the way, and God was good to me every day. Again, when you read between the lines, my life has been one long happy holiday, full of work, full of play. I dropped the worry on the way. This is a man who merged work and play. You know, he felt that his work was also his play. He did not worry. See, worry is the ultimate thing that breaks your flow, because when you're worried, that means you're on stress and anxiety. But if you have these big dreams pulling you forward, and you're happy right now because you kind of know they're going to happen, well, guess what? It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. This man who wrote this poem over 100 years ago was John D. Rockefeller. He started the biggest company of his time, Standard Oil. It's now ExxonMobil. And he was America's oil king. He was the richest man who ever lived. You can read about him in his biography, Titan. Then there's Richard Branson, okay, who loves a good toga party. And Branson, I had the privilege of spending time with him on his private island twice. Kylie was with me, as was Christina the last time we went. But I remember in our group, one of us asked Branson, you run some 300 different companies in the Virgin Group. What's your productivity secret? And Branson said, well, I make lots of lists. That's it. He makes lots of lists. Well, this is what Branson's list looks like. Okay, this is actually one of his daily to-do lists. It's not things such as come home from work and pick up milk on the way home. You know, his list is things such as ring Steve Fossey, start an airline in Nigeria. You know, it's stuff like that. It's big, epic things. It's massive, massive, massive stuff. Okay, so Branson starts every day thinking about his goals, the big things he has to accomplish. And I remember we had another conversation with Branson, right? See, Branson's a really happy guy. I remember there was a whole group of our entrepreneurs sitting at a table. It was me, Kylie, a whole bunch of other entrepreneurs. And Branson was at the head of the table, and these guys, you know, came up to him and were asking him all these business questions. Hey, Richard, how do you do this? How do you do that? What do you do with employees who don't deliver? How do you plan? And Branson kind of just scoffed. And he got up on the table. He got up on the table and just started dancing, then pulled up Christina and just started dancing with Christina on the table. And I thought that was such a happy, beautiful thing to do. Rather than worry about all those things, he decided to just embrace the moment and dance on a table. How cool is that? And we asked Branson, you know, it reminds me of this quote I asked him. What do you do when you're feeling down? And he says, honestly, I can't remember the bad times. I only remember the good things that happened in my life. What is Branson doing? He has his visions pulling him forward. He has his big dreams. But he truly, truly, truly is a happy man. He doesn't postpone his happiness. He doesn't take life too seriously. He gets on a frickin' dinner table in the middle of a mastermind with entrepreneurs from around the world and just dances with my wife. It's pretty cool. So this leads us, right, to this delicate balance, happiness in the now and vision for the future. Now, by the way, I did ask Branson if what he thought about this. He said, you know, Branson doesn't believe in religion. He doesn't really believe in law of attraction or things like this. He said he thought it was pretty interesting. Now, there are people who are consciously competent. There are people who are unconsciously competent. I believe Branson is unconsciously brilliant at this. And I'm hoping to teach you guys to be consciously competent at this. So the first ingredient, happiness in the now. Now, here's the important thing about happiness, right? It's one of the most powerful forces for humanity. Studies show that doctors are 3 times more intelligent and creative when they are happy. Now, all of these that I'm going to share from Sean Akers' book, The Happiness Advantage. Doctors are 3x more intelligent and make the right diagnosis when they are happy. Now, how did they test this? Super simple. Before sending the doctor to go and make the diagnosis, they gave the doctor a simple lollipop. Which leads to the question, should the doctor be giving you a lollipop or should you be giving your doctor a lollipop? Right? And they were 3 times more accurate in their diagnosis. Optimistic salespeople outsell pessimists by 56%. Students primed to be happy outperform their neutral peers. Employees are